So for the multiplication rule in probability, if in addition rule, we are considering if it is mutual or not mutual, kay multiplication, meron din tayong consideration na tinitingnan. Okay? So ano ba yung consideration na yon? That is, if your events, again, you have two events here. If your events are independent events. When we say independent events, these are events that are not dependent. Kasi nga independent, kumbaga, they don't affect the outcome of the other event. Okay? So yun yung independent events natin. And kapag independent event, ang meron tayo, we have the formula for multiplication rule. That is probability of A and B is equal to probability of A times the probability of B. If you already know what is the probability of a certain event A, then you just multiply it with the probability of B. Okay? So please take note of this formula. You're going to use this for multiplication. And now, let's take a look on some of the examples on how you are going to use this formula. How are you going to apply this formula? Okay? So let's jump into some of our examples. So first example, I believe kasi na mas madaling maintindihan yung mga formulas kapag ina-apply mo na siya, kaysa yung sasauluhin mo lang but then you don't know how to apply those formula. Kaya, our first example is that a player throws two fair dice. So what is the probability of getting double one? Okay? So ito na naman tayo kay dice. Si player daw ay tapon or nag-toss ng dalawang fair dice. Ano yung probability na makakuha tayo ng double one? Ibig sabihin, doon sa isang dice ay 1 yung makukuha natin at sa second die, 1 din yung makukuha natin. Okay? Yun yung tinatanong sa atin. Eh diba, alam natin, nung last meeting pa lang gamit na natin, if you are throwing a dice, ilan yung total outcome na lalabas? We have 6 total outcomes. Tama? And each outcome in a die has the probability of 1 over 6. So, it is safe to say that probability of 1 is equal to 1 over 6. Tama? Probability of 2, same, 1 over 6. 3, 1 over 6 also. 4, 5, 6, they have 1 over 6 as their probability. So, ang sabi, ano yung probability na 1 yung makukuha natin sa unang die, then 1 ulit sa pangalawang die. So, kung halimbawa, mag-toss ka ng kahit ilan mang dice, probability of each outcome is 1 over 6 pa din. Okay? So, kung halimbawa sa first trial, you have 1 over 6, then sa second trial, di ba? Or sa second die, again, ang probability ni 1 is 1 over 6. So, this is an independent event. Kasi hindi naman naapektuhan ng unang die yung pangalawang die. Tama ba? Hindi naman kung ang lumabas ay 1, matik na 1 din. Okay? Kung 2 ang lumabas dun sa isa, 2 din dun sa kabila. So, hindi naman magkaiba silang dahil hindi nila naapektuhan ang resulta ng bawat isa. So, let me indicate that this is for the first die. Then this is for the second die. Then, di ba kanina sa formula of doon sa independent events, we have probability of A and B is equal to probability of A times probability of B. Meaning, ang probability of getting a double one is equal to probability of 1 on the first die and times probability of 1 on the second die. That is 1 over 6 times 1 over 6. And that is equal to 1 over 36. As simple as that. So you have 1 over 36 as your final answer. Okay? Medyo malabo pa rin. Hindi pa rin namin masundan. Okay, let's have another example. So let's see kung dito sa next example, you will understand. Toss a biased coin 3 times where probability of head is 1/3. Find the probability of head, head, tail in that order. So sabi niya dito, magtutoss daw tayo ng biased coin. Ibig sabihin, hindi fair. Kumbaga, medyo tagilid doon sa isang side ng coin natin. Kasi 'di ba, normally if we are using a fair coin, ang probability ng head is 1/2. Same with the probability of tail, that is also 1/2. Tama ba? Eh since biased coin yung gamit natin, unfair coin, ang probability na head is 1/3. Therefore, if we have probability of head equal to 1/3, we can say that the probability of tail occurring is 1 minus 1/3. Tama? Yung tira, yun na lang yung para sa tail. Tama ba? So kung 1/3, that is 2/3 ang probability ni tail. Okay? Now let's go to the question. Find the probability of head, head, tail in that order. Ano daw kaya yung probability of HHT? So we have, let me write it here. Probability of head, head, and tail. So that is equal to probability of head times probability of head again times probability of tail. Now, ang sabi, we have 1/3 for the probability of head times another 1/3 for the other head times kapag tail, we have 2/3. Okay? So we multiply this by 2/3. And that will give us 1/3 times 1/3 times 2/3 is 2/27. And that is your answer for this example. Okay? Medyo nasusundan na ba kung paano yung ginagawa natin sa multiplication rule? If hindi pa, don't worry. I have prepared another example. Ito pa, meron pa dito. You toss a coin and draw a card. Determine the probability that you will get a head and king of hearts and letter B, a tail and a heart. Okay? So ngayon naman, dalawang experiment na. Bakit dalawa? Kasi you need to toss a coin first. Coin muna yung gagamitin nating medium. Then after tossing a coin, magdodraw ka naman ng card. So those are different events. And syempre, independent events sila kasi hindi naman naapektuhan nung pag-toss mo ng coin yung pag-draw mo ng card. Wala namang binigay na condition. Tama ba? So unahin nating sagutin, ano daw yung probability that a head and a king of hearts ang iyong magagawa doon sa dalawang experiment. So dito, yung coin natin is a fair coin. Kapag walang sinabing unbiased coin, we will assume that the coin used is a fair coin. Okay? So if that is a fair coin, ang probability of head is 1/2. Same goes to the probability of tail. That is also equal to 1/2. Tama ba? Kasi fair coin sila. So, hati lang sila dapat dun sa 1 or dun sa 100% na probability. So, for A, we have probability of head and uy, ang kulit. Head and king of hearts. Ang kulit eh. So, dito, multiplication rule ang gagawin natin. Kaya ang kailangan natin, ilan ba yung probability na head ang lumabas? Ilan ang probability of head? We have 1/2. So, sulat lang natin, 1/2. How about the probability of king of hearts? Ilang king of hearts meron sa baraha? We have 1. Tama? Isa lang king of hearts ang meron tayo sa baraha natin. So we have 1 here. Then again, ilan ang total outcome sa baraha? Ilan ang cards sa baraha? We have 52. So we have the probability of king of hearts is 1/52. And solving this equation, 1/2 times 1/52 will give us an answer equal to 1/104. And that is the probability of getting ahead and the king of hearts in tossing a coin and drawing a card. Then, moving on to letter B. So for letter B, we have probability of tail. So kailangan naman ang makuha natin kapag nag-toss tayo ng coin ay tail and heart. So walang specific, basta heart lang yung binigay niya. What is the probability of tail? So syempre 1/2 pa rin kasi you only have 2 outcomes, that is head or tail. So tig 1/2 sila. We have 1/2 times probability of hearts. How many hearts are there in a deck of card? Ilang hearts meron tayo? We have 13. Tama? We have 13 na hearts, 13 na diamond, then 13 na flower. Paano ba i-drawing yung flower? Then 13 na spade. So all in all, yung mga shape na yan ay, ilan to? We have 52. So 13/52. Then again, kapareho lang ng ginawa natin kay letter A, we are just going to multiply 1/2 by 13/52. And that is equal to 1/8. Okay? If you have your calculator with you, pwede niyo akong sabayan pag-compute. So this is 1/8 and this is your answer for letter B. Okay? So tatandaan to, magagamit niyo to. So for another example, we have a fair 6-sided die is tossed twice. What is the probability that a 5 will occur at least once? Ano daw yung probability na at least once lalabas yung 5? Okay? So kapag sinabi nating fair 6-sided die, ang lalabas dyan ay parang nagtutoss ka rin lang ng dice. Ganun din lang, you have 6 total outcomes in one die. Eh, ang sabi dito ay tinos mo daw ng 2 beses. Okay? So, pwedeng gawin natin is, para mas mabilis nyo siyang ma-analyze, since 2 beses nyo siya tinos, gawa tayo ng sample space. We have, yung unang toss mo, unang toss ng die, walang lumabas na 5. Hindi lumabas si 5 dun sa unang toss. Sabihin natin ay 0. 0 meaning ay no 5. Then, dun sa pangalawang toss, lumabas na si 5. Ayan, wait lang. Mali pala yung sulat ko. So, kung lumabas na si 5, 0, 5, then, ano pa yung mga pwedeng possibility na mangyari? Doon naman sa unang toss mo, lumabas agad si 5. Sa pangalawang toss, hindi naman nakuha si 5. Then, pwede din naman na first toss, lumabas si 5. Second toss, lumabas si 5 ulit. Or pwede din namang sa unang toss, hindi lumabas si 5. Sa pangalawang toss, hindi rin lumabas si 5. Those are the possibilities na pwedeng mangyari. Tama? So, dito, sa mga sample, sa outcome or possible outcome sa sinulat natin for your sample space, alin yung at least once, alin yung miski isang beses lalabas si 5? Diba itong 0, 5, 5, 0, and 5, 5. Lahat sila ay may 5 na lumabas. Tama ba? So, ang gagawin natin, kukunin muna natin yung mga probability nila. So, let's say, walang 5 at may 5. Ano ang probability? Ang probability, again, na lumabas si 5 is 1/6. Kasi di ba kapag nag-toss ka ng fair dice, each outcome ay 1/6 ang probability. Probability of 1 again is 1/6. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is 1/6. Tigwa 1/6 sila. How about, paano yung probability of no 5? Probability of no 5 o yung 0 natin is, kung 1/6 na lalabas si 5, ibig sabihin yung tira is 1 minus 1/6, that is 5/6. Okay? So, itong dalawang to, ito yung gagamitin natin para dito sa pag-solve ng probability ng bawat outcome. Okay? So, probability na walang 5 is 5/6. Probability na may 5 is 1/6. This is equal to, solve na natin. This is equal to 5/36. Then, yung second naman is probability na sa first toss, lalabas yung 5, then sa pangalawa ay wala. So, we have, magbabaliktad lang, 1/6 times 5/6. And that is, pareho lang naman sila, so 5/36. Then yung isa is sa parehong toss, lumabas yung 5. So we have probability of 5 and 5. That is 1/6 times 1/6. We have 1/6 times 1/6 ay 1/36. Ang gagawin natin dito, probability of at least, ayan, at least 1/5 na mag-occur. So, itong tatlo, i-add mo lang. Okay? After you multiply, you do addition naman. So, 5/36 plus 5/36 times 1, plus 1/36. So, you have 5 plus 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11. So you have 11/36. And that is your answer for this example. Pero wait lang. Kung naguguluhan kayo, balikan natin yung principle nga nino yon? Ni complement of A. Remember, sa addition, we have example of using that. Yung probability of A plus probability of its complement is equal to 1. Tama ba? So, pwede natin gamitin yan. So, let's say probability of at least 1/5 is equal to 1 minus yung walang 5. Probability na walang 5. So that is equal to 1 minus, ilan yung probability na walang 5? 5/6 times 5/6. So dapat, lalabas din is 11/36. And we try it. 1 minus 5/6 times 5/6 is 11/36 also. Tama ba? You try it on your calculator. So pareho lang ng lumabas na 11/36. Ibig sabihin, again, maalin ang pwede niyong gamiting method. So kung saan ka mas komportable, okay lang. Pwedeng itong process na ito or itong idea or principle ng complement of A. Okay? How about this one? Sige nga, let us answer this example. 2 cards are drawn from a standard 52 card deck without replacement. What is the probability that both cards are read? Ang gamit naman nating medium is cards. Ilan yung cards? 52. Sabi, without replacement. Hindi natin binalik. Nung nakabunot tayo ng isa, hindi binalik. Ano yung probability na parehong kulay pula na card ang mabubunot mo? Kasi bubunot ka rin dalawang cards. Sa unang card pula, sa pangalawang card pula ulit. Ano yung probability? So, we have probability of, let's say, first na bunot is red. First red. Ilan yung first red natin? Ilan nga ang total? We have total cards of 52. Ano ang mga color? So ito, gagamitin niyo rin to. Ang mga color sa baraha is, we only have red and black. Okay, yan yung standard na kulay. Kung rainbow yung kulay ng inyong baraha, hindi ko alam kung bakit rainbow. So red and black lang, kalimitan yung kulay. If red and black, ang total daw is 52. So pareho lang ng bilang yan. Kung ilan yung red, ganoon din yung black. So si 52 divided by 2, we have 26 na red at 26 na black. So remember also this one. So magagamit nyo to. Okay? So ito na, unang red. Ano yung probability na makakakuha tayo ng red sa baraha? Isa pa lang. We have 26 kasi 26 yung kulay pulang baraha over 52. Okay? How about this one? Probability na sa second draw ay red ulit. We have 26 over 52. Probability of red. Pero take note of this. Ang sabi, without replacement. Ibig sabihin, nung bumunot ka ng isa, hindi mo na binalik. Eh ito, di bang 26 at 52, kompleto pa yan. Eh sabi, yung una mo daw bunot, hindi mo binalik. Ibig sabihin, mababawasan na. Tama ba? Kasi hindi mo binalik. So halip na 52, ilan na lang yung baraha mo? Nakabunot ka na ng isa. Magiging 51. Eh nakabunot ka na ng isang pula dun sa una. Ilan na lang yung pulang natitira sa baraha? We have 20, 25. 26 minus 1 man din ay 25. Ano? So we have 26 over 52 at 25 over 51. So itong dalawang ito, i-multiply mo lang and that will give us 26 over 52 times 25 over 51 is 25 over 102. And that is your answer. Ma'am, wait lang. Naguguluhan na ako. Sabi niyo po, independent events. Tama ba? This one is an example of not independent but a dependent events. Anong ibig sabihin ng dependent events? Yung pangalawang outcome or pangalawang experiment ay naaapektuhan nung unang nangyari. Tama ba na dependent ito? Kasi yung una mong ginawa ay nakaapekto dun sa pangalawa kasi nabawasan yung ating probability. Tama ba? Therefore, this is an example of dependent events. Ano namang formula kapag dependent events? Hindi naman sila nagkakalayo ni independent. We have probability of A and B is equal to the probability of A times probability of B given A. Ayan, medyo merong bagong mukha. Si probability of A carry favorable outcome over total outcome. Yung simpleng probability. Probability of B given A. Ibig sabihin lang nito, probability ni B given na nag-occur na si A. Okay? Na nangyari na si A. Parang ganun sa example natin. Balikan natin. We have, since nangyari na o since nakabunot na tayo ng isang kulay pulang baraha, nabawasan na yung number of red cards doon sa pangalawa nating outcome. Okay? Nagigets what is a dependent event? So let's try. Let's try another example. Soburahin na natin ito. So take note of this formula again. Medyo magkamukha naman sila ni independent. Hindi naman kayo malilito. So we have here this one. Select 2 cards from a deck in succession. What is the probability? What is the probability of getting 2 kings? A with replacement and B without replacement. So yung unang consideration natin, wait lang pala, ano bang gagawin daw? Kukuha daw tayo ng 2 cards sa baraha. Ano yung probability na 2 king ang makukuha natin magkasunod? Sa unang kuha, king. Sa pangalawang kuha, king ulit. Letter A, with replacement. Ibig sabihin, kapag sinabing with replacement, ibabalik mo. Pag bumunot ka dun sa una, ibabalik mo ulit kasi nga ni-replace mo. For letter B, without replacement. Ibig sabihin, kung nakabunot ka na dun sa una, hindi mo na ibabalik. Okay? So, for this example, sige nga, pakitry muna ako. So, for this example, sagutan na natin yung letter A. So, we have, for letter A, let me write it first. With replacement, ibig sabihin, kapag nakabunot ka na, ibabalik mo ulit. Okay? So, sa baraha, we have, ilan ba ang king na meron tayo? So, we have 4 na king. Then, ang total cards sa baraha is again 52. So, doon sa unang draw natin, or unang kuha mo dun sa baraha, ang nakuha mo is king. So, we have 4/52. Ang sabi, binalik mo daw, nung nakakuha ka, binalik mo ulit dun sa baraha. Ibig sabihin, yung number of king, hindi nabawasan kasi binalik mo ulit yung nabunot mo. Also, yung total number ng cards. Tama ba? So, we have 4/52 times 4/52 is 1/169. And that is your answer for letter A. Then, for letter B naman, yung without replacement, ibig sabihin naman ito, hindi mo binalik. Pagkabunot mo, hindi mo na siya binalik. Tama? Kung unang bunot mo, nakakuha ka ng king, we have 4/52, hindi mo binalik yung nabunot mong king. Ibig sabihin, ilan na lang natitirang king? 3 na lang kasi yung isa nabunot mo na. Then, ilan na lang yung cards? 51 na lang kasi nabawasan na ng isa doon sa unang bunot mo. And 4/52 times 3/51 is equal to 1/221. And that is your answer for letter B. So that is the difference between with replacement and without replacement. And that concludes our discussion for multiplication rule in probability.